on Volleyball Media Days. Dave, welcome in. 20-plus years for you. What keeps you coming back each season?
It's a good job. I love being at Purdue University. We have great athletes, great culture, and it's a phenomenal job. I'm lucky to be there. So you just looked at three of them. I mean, three great players that make the job fun, love walking into the gym every single day.
Three players, so you got to take on a pretty cool European trip over the summer. What was that like in terms of team chemistry, building off the court as well, and just the overall experience of being there as a team?
Well, we have about everybody back from last year's team, which is wonderful. So we kind of knew who we were going over there. We did pick up our three freshmen. They were able to go with us, which was nice. But every year is different. Just because you have certain players returning, they're all going to be different in what their role is as far as leadership and on the floor and off the floor. So I thought it was a great trip. We would have liked to play some better competition over there. Just we had some teams that kind of weren't there that we thought were going to be there to play. And but overall, it was a great trip. Everybody got to play a lot of volleyball. I think we played 6 matches while we were there, and it was fun. It was a great trip for us, and it should make it easier as we move into this season.
I don't think many folks are saying easier about this year when you consider the schedule that everybody has to face, and overall the amazing rise in popularity that has brought so many other programs into the picture. You and I have discussed this at length in the past, but it also means that programs need to find new ways to recruit, new ways to stay fresh, to remain as relevant as your program has. So how have you done that?
Well, it's a crazy time in college athletics. I mean, let's be honest about it right now. And everybody has to figure out what they're going to do to get recruits to look at them. And the first thing you do is you win, okay? And you put great players on the floor that players want to look like when they get here. Annie Drews helps us a lot. You know, the fact that right now she's been the star of the Olympic team. And, those are all things you have to do. Our facilities are phenomenal. Like, for example, this year we're going to play 2 matches in Mackey Arena. We hope that we can fill that arena, 14,240 seats. We think we can do that. So there's just constant things you have to do. You have to have the support of your administration. We do have that support. Mike Babinski's been tremendous for our volleyball team. You know, he puts volleyball very high on the pedestal. And so we want to continue to do that. What you guys do here in the Big Ten Network has been just absolutely tremendous for our sport. There's a reason volleyball in this conference is #1. And a lot of that is because of the Big Ten Network.
Well, we've obviously loved being a part of it and watching the rise in popularity, the rise in viewership as well. But there are questions that still need to be answered in this day and age of college athletics, quite a few. The transfer portal has been there for a couple of years, but now we're discussing revenue sharing in our own league. We have to discuss NCAA tournament inclusion and how hard it now becomes for teams to be 500 overall if you play tough non-cons. These are things, I think, Dave, that probably keep you up at night and that coaches are thinking about a lot more than other folks that just watch this sport.
Yeah, I think, when I go into this season, it's so much the same. You know, you have to be really good, and you have to be very well prepared, and your team has to be loaded with talent, and you've got to compete every single night. But what's different is you're adding 4 teams with great tradition that come into this league, and they're going to be out to prove a point as well. I don't think the league is going to be remarkably stronger because you were playing a lot of teams twice before that were really good. And now you're playing less of those, but you're bringing in the Washington, Oregon, UCLA, and USC, and you have to learn about those teams. You know, we know a lot about how Kelly Sheffield coaches. He's really good, but we know what his teams do. We're not as familiar with what UCLA is going to do, or Oregon, or Washington. So there's going to be a lot of work to prepare for them. We only play them one time, so you better get it right the first time because you're not going to play those teams twice.
Let's talk about some of the players that are here as your reps this week. Lourdes Meyers is here, 5th-year middle, who led your team, I believe, in hitting percentage a year ago. What are her best assets, both on and off the court, for your program?
Well, Lourdes is a real physical player. I remember when I watched her the very first time in a tournament in Indianapolis, and right then I knew we needed her in our gym. We needed that kind of an athlete. And it's been a process. You know, she went through some injuries early and learned a lot about the game, and now when I watched her play over in Europe, you could just see how physical and how confident she was becoming. So I think she's going to be one of our most improved players this year. Off the floor, she's grown and become a very more confident person. She also, you might hear her today. She's a little soft-spoken, but she's gaining confidence all the time, and on the court and off the court. So I think she's going to be a real dandy for us this year.
I have confidence Elena and Holly during the interview that we're about to hear will get the best out of her.
They're real professionals.
Now, Chloe Chicoine is athletic in a different way, obviously a different size set, a different skill set, but one of the most entertaining players to watch, coming out of the back row, so much fun. What has she provided for your program? How much room is there for her to still grow, and how does she reach that potential?
No, she's going to get a lot better because nobody works harder than she does. She's an absolute game changer. You know, when she walked into our gym, she came early in the spring semester of her senior year, which was really good for her and for us. And the minute she got there, our program changed because she was in the gym more than any other player had ever been at Purdue. And when people watch somebody who's that kind of a role model and they're in the gym, you start showing up in the gym and you start working harder. And she's a great competitor, and she's got the heart of gold. And, you know, we're just better because she's at Purdue. And I think that, you know, you talk about, will she get better? Yeah, she's going to get a lot better because she's in the gym all the time and she's such a great competitor. And, you know, there are so many things. When you come to the Big Ten, you've got to be good at a lot of things. And she was a great attacker, did a lot of things well, had the jump serve going, did a lot of those things. But we've had to really focus on serve receive, had to focus on blocking. And those things are, she recognizes what she needs to work on. So we're going to see a lot of progress with her this season as well.
Excited to hear from her, and Lourdes coming up in just a bit. Now, only two players can be here. Right. Eva Hudson was here a year ago, chose a couple other players to come, but Raven Colvin is back in West Lafayette as well. Dave, when you start to talk about depth, and I look at your team, especially at that top level depth, how comfortable are you that that is going to be a massive strength for your program no matter who you're playing against on a nightly basis?
I think we can match up with anybody athletically. Our strength is really in the first touch, you know, our serve receive, our defense, our serving. We've made a lot of progress in that. We're going to be big enough to match up with the Wisconsins and the Nebraskas and the Penn States, who I think, you know, are top tier programs, not just in our league, but across the country. But I think what makes us different is how we compete and how tough we are and how determined. And you talked about, you know, the three that jump out at me the most: Chloe, Eva, and Raven Colvin. And Raven, you know, got left off the All-Big Ten team this year, which is wonderful for me. You know, a
little bit of motivation.
Yeah, I like to see the fire burn with Raven because she's. The one thing about Raven is the last 3 years she's had 3 different setters, and so when you're a middle hitter, you're a little bit. Your success is determined a little bit by the setter. It's not like an outside hitter that has time to adjust to the ball a lot. When you're in the middle, you want the ball in the wheelhouse, okay? And a lot of it was on her that she just lacked the rapport or the confidence with those setters. The setters were doing a decent job. And now we have that same setter returning now. For the first time in her career, she'll have the same setter
that chemistry
setting her the ball, and that's Taylor Anderson, who is very gifted, was a Big Ten all-freshman team member a year ago. So I think that this spring we saw a different Raven Colvin than what we had seen for a few years.
I do want to touch on your schedule a little bit. After the Stacey Clark Classic, you basically leave West Lafayette and the state of Indiana forever, right? You're in Utah, Dallas, you're at Kansas. You're basically away for 3 weeks.
Yeah.
I think that would make a lot of coaches nervous. Are you more comfortable because of how much experience you have coming back with that kind of schedule in the non-con?
Yeah, you never get real comfortable in this league, period, coaching at this level with the schedule we have. But certainly having as many players as we've got gave me the confidence to put that schedule together. When you look at it now, you wonder, what were you thinking, you know, when you did that? But I also trust my players, that they're going to compete every night they step on the floor. And if we can stay healthy and keep our best players available, then we're going to be really hard to handle.
I do want to look into the future, Dave, as we finish. How much will the addition of these schools and some extra travel affect the way that you and maybe some other top-tier programs do schedule in the non-conference, especially when it comes to that travel?
Yeah, when I look at the travel, it's not as big of a deal as a lot of people have made it out to be. We're going to make one trip that we haven't made before. We're going to go out to Washington and Oregon over Thanksgiving. That's when, you know, we got the draw to do that. So you may want to schedule a little bit more close to home during the off season, but we've always tried to do that. I don't like traveling. I don't like, you know, taking my team to Hawaii or California during non-conference. I want to train. I want to be in the gym as often as possible and keep them well rested because we know what the gauntlet of the Big Ten is that lies ahead. But our schedule non-conference is very tough. You have to really know the game to look at that schedule and realize that it's a really, really tough schedule. And there'll be a lot of teams that can beat us if we don't come out ready to play.
Dave Shondell, Purdue head coach. Dave, always great to catch up. Wish you and the Boilermakers the best of luck in 2024.
Thanks, Rick.
All right, we talked about the schedule a little bit. We're going to give you a visual look now at some of those non-con games that I mentioned, the locations, and the opponents are up there. Kansas State, Creighton, always tough. And look at the Big Ten slate. I mean, just look at those first couple of weeks. You have Penn State, Minnesota, and Nebraska within a 2-week span from late September into the middle of October. Should be so many great matches for Purdue to deal with. And for some of those players who are going to deal with those oppositions, we send it over to Elena and Holly for the first time.
Thanks so much, Rick. Holly and I are joined today by Lourdes Meyers and Chloe Chicoine of Purdue Volleyball. Welcome to Big Ten Media Days. We are so happy to have you here today. Hope you have so much fun. We're going to have fun here now. Just want to get started with last year. You guys are returning some key players. You two, of course, coming back to this year's squad. What's the mindset going into this season?
I think we're motivated and we're super excited to have this team back. We have the same setter back and the hitters and passers, so we're bonding and gelling on the court, and I think our connection is going to play a really big role on the court this year.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, we have a year under our belt, and we're pretty much returning our entire roster except for a couple seniors from last year, and we have some really good freshmen coming in. So I think we've done a really good job in the spring working together, and I'm excited to see how it plays out.
Chloe, you had a fantastic freshman season, came in early, and your coach said you were a game changer because you started showing up in the gym early. What drives you?
I mean, I just love the gym. I mean, I really enjoy volleyball, and I think that's what has led me to play this on and want to keep playing and getting better. And I think Purdue really fosters that. We have coaches that push us in the gym, and we also have players like Eva comes in with me all the time, and it's just really fun that everybody on our team wants to get better. Even Lourdes, she'll come in and pass balls with us. She never passes really, but she just wants to keep playing. So.
Middles always love passing balls, setting balls, taking all the things that they really shouldn't be doing. But you're ready when it comes to you. So I love that. Chloe, what's like the main takeaway you took from your freshman season now heading into your sophomore season?
Probably just to rely on my teammates. I mean, I think I was a little bit nervous when we did our first couple of games, but then I realized how close of a family we all are and how we have prepared and we're ready for this. So when game time comes, it's just play together and show out.
Lourdes, you had a fantastic season last year, highest hitting percentage, second in blocks. Your coach said you're going to be the most improved player on this team. In what areas have you improved the most?
This year I put on intentional weight to gain on muscle mass, and so I feel like I'm hitting balls harder, and I feel like I've gotten stronger. I feel like I'm reading blocks more accurately than I did last season, so everything with me is intentional right now.
We heard your coach talk a little bit about your international trip this past spring. I would love to hear from both of you. What was the highlight of that trip? And just give me a rundown on it. I'm so jealous that I didn't get to join you guys.
Well, Lourdes and I were roommates that entire trip for most of it, so that was super fun. We spent a ton of time together this summer, so I loved getting closer to Lourdes, just being roommates with her. But personally, I love Croatia. We were right on the beach, so we all got to jump into the sea, which was super fun, and the food there was really good. It was like a bunch of meats and cheese, and it was fun.
Yeah, I feel like we were able to bond and get closer with each other on a personal level. I really enjoyed Turkey. We got to get on the yacht and on our last day and enjoy the water, so that was my favorite part.
Was there any one team moment that really stood out for you guys?
One time we were coming back from shopping in Milan, and we were all walking back, and the trolley didn't make it all the way back to our hotel, so it started pouring, and all of us were just standing there in the rain, waiting for the next trolley to come, and it was so much fun. We made Dave and Angie do TikToks with us. We just had a great time.
Good memories.
Holloway Gym is one of the most exciting gyms to play in all of college volleyball, and you guys have a couple matches this year in Mackey Arena as well. Can you just explain a little bit what that home court advantage is like for you guys getting to play with the block party there? Lourdes, you can go first.
Yeah, I think it's a cool experience, and being able to play in Mackey is a big deal, and I'm so thankful for the coaches for putting this together for us, and so I just think it's amazing to play in front of our fans, and they deserve it, we deserve it, and I'm excited to see the paint crew and the Boiler Block finally unite. So I'm just super excited for college volleyball right now.
Yeah, me too. It's been awesome. And I mean, Purdue is just really supporting our volleyball. We actually just got Terraflex too, so that'll be exciting. And it's just going to be fun with all of our student athletes, and just our students take it really seriously. They see us on campus and talk to us, which is so awesome. And they really like to support us.
So going into the season, give us a little bit of insight into your gym right now. What can fans expect to see when they watch Purdue volleyball?
You know, we're going to work hard on the court this year to win as many games as we can. We're going to bring a lot of intensity, and
Yeah, I agree with what you said. We're going to have a tight-knit bond on the court, but I think we're going to be gritty, kind of like Lourdes said. And I think in our gym, we've done a really good job of being intentional with our practices and what we're doing. So I think that'll show up this year.
Well, we can't wait to watch you guys this year. Thank you so much, Lourdes and Chloe. Hope you have a great rest of your day at Big Ten Media Days.
thank
You too.